Hello, welcome. I'm Jayapalashri from Samskara Healing. I would love to talk about the importance of patience. Patience is something we all need in our day-to-day life, but we often tend to kind of not have it. We get impatient. We get impatient with various things. For whatever happens, we kind of get very, very impatient, and we don't have the patience to wait it out. For example, if there's a traffic jam, you'll see a lot of people getting impatient and coming in from all sides and worsening the jam instead of allowing things to flow naturally. We are impatient when we need to get results. It could be test results from the school, college exams. It could be a result from an interview. It could be results from a medical checkup. As the time nears, we get very, very anxious. And if there is a delay, we always think of the worst. Isn't it that something that happens to you all? The first thing we're going to say is something is wrong. Something has gone bad. I think I have failed. I think my tests are bad. The results have not come. We just jump, and there's nothing stopping us because we just think the worst, and we only think of the worst. We don't have the patience to think there could be a technical glitch. It could have been delayed because the person who was uploading the results is taking time, or maybe something. There could be a million reasons. We always think of the worst first. That's the first point with patience. When you're hungry, we never have the time and the patience to wait for the food to be served. We get very agitated. What happens to us when we're not patient? We get very restless. We are frustrated. We can't sit it out. We are angry. We snap. We are irritable. There is a part of us which we always don't want to show out in the world, and suddenly it's just out there. It could be anger. It could be like mean, nasty. Why? Because there's something within you which is getting triggered because you're not able to be patient. So when I'm talking about patience, and before I speak about how to deal with it and what to do with it, there was a beautiful story I read, and at the end of it, I genuinely had tears in my eyes, and it touched my heart. And it's a story that I carry dear in my heart. And I often tell this to anybody who's jumping or who's up, not ready to be patient or not ready to do something. This is a story I always pick on and speak about. So the story goes like this. There's this taxi driver, and this story is based somewhere in America, the US of A. And this taxi driver, and he's had his entire day, and it is the last pickup that he had to pick up from the client and drop them to wherever. So he was quite anxious to finish that duty and wind up for the day. So in the process of doing that, and in the process of going to pick up this client, he realized that when he honked, he honked, pressed the honk to get the client out, saying that he's waiting. The client didn't come. So he was a little hassled, and he really wanted to finish this quickly and wind up. So again he gave another honk, and still the client didn't come. He was really pissed off and frustrated, and he was in a mood to be snappy, but he decided that he would go to the door and ring the bell. So he went and rang the doorbell, and when he rang the doorbell, after some time he heard the shuffling of the feet, and someone came, and he realized it was an elderly woman who was 90 plus. She came struggling and opened the door, and he saw that the house was fairly empty and everything was with dust covers. As she walks out, and she asks him, "Can you help me put my trunk in the car boot?" So he obliges because it's a 90-year-old woman. So the driver was kind and picks up the trunk and helps her, locks up the house, helps her into the car and puts the luggage into the takes her for the to wherever she needs to go. As he gets into the car, he asks her, "Where would you like to go?" And she gives the address, and she gives the longer route. And he says, why would you take a long route to reach there when we could go quickly? So she says, I have no one for me. I don't have anybody left in my family, and the doctors have said my time is nearing, so I want to make the most of it. So the driver looks at her for a fleeting moment, and there's something that happens to him in his heart, and he decides to humor her and takes her through like how she wants to go, and she goes through all the parts of the town where she had happy memories with her husband and her family. And so she goes through the whole journey, and finally she reaches this place, which is where she needs to get off, this old age place where she's going. And the minute the car stops, there are already attendants waiting to receive her, so obviously they knew she's coming. So she gets off the car, and they are ready to help her. And before the taxi driver gets off and takes out the trunk, the luggage from the boot, she waves at him and she asks how much. So the taxi driver says, nothing, I'm not charging you anything. And so she said, then how would you make a living? So she said he says there are other passengers that I can make my living out with, so it's fine, I don't need to take anything from you, and I'm very happy that I could do this for you. So instinctively he gives her a hug and wishes her well, and he feels very emotional because he realizes that there is not much time left for this poor lady and things like that. And she goes, and before he realizes, he's in the car and he sees the door is shut, and he has tears in his eyes, and he's thinking that he was impatient and he almost wanted to snap and be mean to this lady. And something in him just made him go to the door, and something in him, reached out, which brought, this patience in him, where he actually heard her out and humored her and brought her there. And he felt really nice. So this also got an important lesson for me when I read it, that at times we can get very irritated and snappy, because especially if you had a long day or a tired day, you don't need somebody to delay you. You don't need someone to come in your way and be a nuisance to you. But you don't know. What if it's their last moment? Or what if it is something and we're just being very impatient and we're just ready to snap or say, now is not the time and I don't want to meet you, I can't do this. So we don't know. So this is an important lesson, and it touched my heart. It touched my heart, and that's the reason I'm sharing it with you. And I hope it does bring an important moral to each and every one of you, and you would carry it, because it did make a difference to me. So now when I'm speaking about that and talking about patience and the importance of patience, we all get impatient. So it's absolutely fine. Okay? Especially if you have an important meeting, you do not want to get delayed, because you need to think, you need to plan, you need to work on stuff. You can't just, think. So impatience is there. It is natural. It could so happen that maybe your alarm didn't go off. It could happen that you woke up late. Maybe there's no power, there's no water in your home. Your maid may not turn up. Maybe your kids are deciding to throw a tantrum the day you need to do something very important. There could be a million things which could happen, and there could be a very bad traffic jam, and you may be reaching late for the meeting. So when you see these kind of things, how do you deal with it? Be prepared. So don't try to, be like, go, if the meeting is at 10, don't try to land there at 10. Try to keep half an hour grace so that you're calm, settled, anchored to go on for the meeting. I understand you may say, what am I going to do for 30 minutes? Are you off your head? No, I'm not off my head. You could do a lot of other things. You could make your calls, which you would have missed. You could sit to do something. You could kind of ground yourself and collect yourself for the meeting. Imagine you're just going to rush in and you're going to be like all over the place and with a scattered mind, because you're so you've had a bad morning and traffic, and you're late, and in that you had you were impatient because things were not happening, and you go sit there. You're going to be giving out all the wrong body language to your whoever it is, your boss, your client, your colleagues, or anybody, customer. So you wouldn't want to do that. So go prepared. So go earlier. If you're there 5 minutes, 10 minutes earlier, nothing is going to happen. Okay? But if you're going to be 10, 15 minutes later, it's going to be you're going to be awkward, and you're going to be trying to cover up and things like that. So have a plan and work towards it. First, work on your stress levels. Work on your issues and things which like anxiety and the frustration. What are the triggers? Work on those. Practice on things like calming meditation. Have a journal. Keep a diary to put in your thoughts and times and whatever needs to be done. Look at accepting failures. Look at a delay with an optimistic mind. I'm very scared to say positive today because positive is something very sensitive to each and every one of us thanks to the pandemic moving around. We can't say I'm positive. You say you're positive, everybody's only thinking of one thing. So on the lighter note, but try to be optimistic. Try to do things in the rightful manner. See how you want to move forward and be communicative and share your plan with people around you. You know that people should know and they're part of your decision. So say in case if you have an important meeting coming, you are going to get anxious and worried and stressed. So do you want to take it alone? No. Speak to your family, speak to your friends, speak to people around you and bring in all of them together to help you, to go through it. So voice it out. Try to, take out time to spend time in nature. Any way possible. You could just stand in your balcony, you could stand in the garden, if you have the liberty of stepping out into a park, go out into the park, spend time, work on it because it really helps you calm down. And have patience to listen. At times we are not patient. The most important thing is hear it out. In case if somebody is late, in case if someone has not kept up to a commitment, in case if someone has failed in something, in case if your reports are saying something, have the patience to listen. Without listening, don't jump to conclusions. Avoid moving in speed into judgments, into conclusions, and just don't bring your perceptions or your whatever your past and say, this is it. No, it's not. So patience is needed. And patience is something which needs to be worked on. If you're going to ask me, at times even I'm impatient. If I have somebody who's very slow with something, I would really get hassled because I'm a person who goes very quick with things. So what I do is, if I see a person going very slow and who's not moving at my speed, I usually move away from that space and move to the next space because it's hassling me. So always have something like consciously be mindful to see what is troubling you and move away from that place. I get very upset when I see cars coming this way and that way and I'm like, why can't you all just come in a line? We'll all go. We don't even have to think about a traffic jam. But then that's me. So even I'm getting impatient because I'm seeing other people being impatient. So we pick up energies. But then can I do something about it? No. So what do? I sit and make my phone calls. I sit and answer my texts. I sit to write. Or I sit to read. If I'm not doing anything, I just close my eyes and I meditate. Because there's nothing else I'm going to do. Anyway, I'm stuck. So by being impatient, I'm only building up my anger or my anxiety level, which is going to react in my body. And I don't need that. So I work on it. These are a couple of things that I would like. I enjoyed sharing it with you all. I hope this makes some benefit. And I always love to hear from you all. Do put your feedback and how you deal with it. It's not that I'm giving you some things to be dealing with. Each one of us deal with something different. But when you hear someone talking about it, there are triggers in your mind and you say, oh yeah, you know what, I deal with it this way. And you're conscious of it. So when you're conscious of it, you would be avoiding moving into the lane of anxiety, fear, stress, things like that. So these are certain things which is really very meaningful, and the importance of having the sense of being mindful with what we are doing. With this, I would like to end my talk, and I wish you all well. I send a lot of blessings and light to each and every one of you who are watching, to your family, to your home. Stay safe, take care. The pandemic is not over yet. You and I are still fighting it. Let's fight together and let's spread the importance of love, happiness. Let's not spread the virus. Let us spread happiness and love, and also the importance of being patient. I thank you. I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Stay connected to see my many more live sessions coming up. Thank you.